I want to talk about some observations from last night's game. Things that stood out to me. While I mess around here practicing in Madden 17, can't wait for Tuesday when Madden 18 will finally be out. The first thing I noticed was the obvious, that Drez Anderson and Bruce Ellington got the start with Jalen Strong. I assumed Jalen Strong would get the start because he has a lot of potential. He just seems to be a bit of a bonehead, getting caught with drugs, and when he came in he was a bit overweight. So he seems a bit of a bonehead, but he's very talented. So of course he gets a start, but Drez Anderson, I was like, oh, I guess he played well in that first preseason game. They were going to give him a shot with the starters there, because Hopkins and Braxton Miller weren't playing. Bruce Ellington, I was shocked. They just signed him, and then he gets to actually start. Not only that, he played pretty well. Made some moves on some short passes with both Savage and Watson. And he bailed out Savage on a play when he was getting covered by Butler. He basically threw a jump ball where either one of them could have got it. It was kind of underthrown, and it looked like it was probably going to get broken up. But Bruce Ellington jumped up over Butler, made the catch for about 37 yards or so. That was nice. It's nice when your quarterback's not going to throw perfect every pass, and you're able to bail him out like that, just signing with the team. He looked pretty good. It seems like there's too many receivers for them to keep. I want to see more Wendell Williams, because he was able to beat Will Fuller in a foot race, and he had pretty much the same 40 time. And he seems like he can catch. Maybe can't get off the press as well or whatever, but I wanted to see him. I haven't seen really much of him at all that I can recall in the preseason. It seems like there's too many, because you're going to have Hopkins, you're going to have Fuller, you're going to have Miller, you're going to have Strong. So there's 4. They might keep 6. And I was thinking Wendell Williams, and I was hoping Riley McCarron, because he looks a lot like everybody's saying Wes Welker, just with a lot more speed. I want to see a bit more of him on punt returns and kick returns. He was out there on the punt and kick returns, but he didn't get to return any. And he had a couple catches, but he was tackled immediately after catching it, so you didn't get to see his speed. In the red zone at the first drive, the Texans were 4th and 6 inside around the 15 or so. And they did a draw play, and I was like, that was fucking ridiculous. But this morning I was listening to some of the post-game stuff, and Savage was saying that, yeah, the clock was running down. I didn't have time to change up the play, so we had to ran what we ran. And that was a shitty choice. But, not him, my throw. I shouldn't have thrown to that guy. So he just had to run that draw. I thought it was pretty dumb. Another thing is that, just like last game, Watt looks pretty healthy. He like his normal self, nothing to think there's any danger. There was a play Savage did that I was actually shocked. He was rolling out away from the blitz. It wasn't a design rollout. And Steven Anderson was coming across the field about 8 to 10 yards down the field. And while Savage was running about his full speed, he threw a perfect dart to him with defenders all around. And I was like, wow. I did not know Savage could do that. I don't know if he can do it consistently, but I thought that was a nice throw. That really stuck out. at least to me. Another thing is Lamar Miller. It was on short yardage. It was 3rd and 1, and the box was stacked. There was like 8 plus guys. They didn't have any safeties back. Like they were playing the run. So it was like 8 or 9 guys there, right in the box, and he was still able to get the first down. And then again on a 2nd and 1, the box wasn't as stacked, but to see him get some short yardage first downs was pretty nice. Jalen Strong. He didn't do much until that red zone play. They were on, like, I think inside the 5. And he actually made a nice move faking out Malcolm Butler, of all people, to jump up and snag it right in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. That was nice. I always knew he could jump up and get the ball, but to be able to make that move on Malcolm Butler, Butler did not have his best game. Granted, it's preseason, he's been upset about a contract, but to see Strong able to do that to him was pretty nice. Later on, Andre Hall made a great interception while covering Chris Hogan. But they ruled that he did not have possession of the ball, so the interception didn't count. And when I was looking at it, it was like he had possession. He caught it, bobbled it a little bit, but he grabbed possession of it and didn't let it move as he went down on top of Hogan to go out of bounds. But I did notice that he only got 1 foot in, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. But the refs totally messed up that call. He had possession. It just looked like he didn't get both feet in. So they were still right, but they were right in the wrong way, I guess. Another thing is that something I don't like. Is that DJ Reader was called for holding. And you don't really see that on defensive linemen. The only time you see that on defensive linemen is when there's a blitz, or they're trying to open up a hole for someone else to get in, like a defensive lineman next to them or something. And that's when they run into, let's say, the center, and then they pull his shoulder, like his right shoulder, to the left to pull him, towards, well, I said his left shoulder to his right. So it's like, I can't highlight him, but if you look at Tom Savage on this play here, and you look at the DT just in front of him, slightly to the left, it's as if he runs into the center, pulls him over to the left of the screen to open up that A gap so that the linebacker that's slightly to the right of Savage can run through. That's holding. You don't see that much, and to see that he was doing that, kinda, I didn't see if he actually did it. They just made the call, and I don't know. I didn't get to see the play, if it was a crappy call or not. But that disturbed me a little bit, because the Texans are really good. They don't need to be doing that to get pressure, but maybe they wanted to see if they could get away with it, which still isn't good. But they did have bonehead plays last week when the offensive linemen, well, the fullback included, were tackling people when they were blocking, which is ridiculous. Later on, you could see that Cushing and McKinney could not cover the running backs for the life of them. Just couldn't do it. Especially when they went outside. They go outside, but couldn't cover the running back. Just didn't give any hope, because that seemed to be what a lot of the Patriots quarterbacks did. Brady and Garoppolo just threw to the running backs. Because even when Cunningham came in, who was supposed to be a guy to help cover running backs, even though he's like a tackling machine, he got faked out twice on a little, oh, I'm going out and come back in. One of them was to G.J. Foster, which went for a touchdown. It was like, okay, he needs some work on his coverage because he's getting burned on the inside. Because maybe he's expecting the same thing, the outside plays that burned Cushing and McKinney. And, yeah, that didn't give much hope. Seems to be a weak spot, covering running backs. And that's what the Patriots do well. I want to see how Vrabel coaches them up and calls plays to stop that in week 3 and potentially in the playoffs. There's a play that was called back. Allen, the tight end, fumbles the ball on 3rd down when Watson came in, and Stephen Gilmore picked the ball and ran it about down to the 10-5 area, but Deshaun Watson was the one that ran down and hit him out of bounds. And that's what I like, that he hustled down there to make sure he didn't get the touchdown, because with this defense, there's always a chance we can hold them to a field goal or even get a turnover inside the red zone. So to see that was very nice. Aww, overthrow. So that was nice to see. But the play was called back because he didn't actually catch the ball. Alfred Blue did make some big plays, but he was hitting hard. He just picked a hole and he just slammed into it. He didn't mess around at all. He just boom. I like seeing that. There was a play on about the 15-yard line inside the red zone where Watson overthrew again on the deep pass, because it'd be about 25 yards. It seems like anything over about 15-20 yards, his accuracy looks ridiculously cartoony. Like, why is this guy even in the NFL? He is not ready to start. I know a lot of people like him. They want to see him out there, including myself, because he makes great decisions. He's really smart, seems like a great leader, seems poised and confident in the pocket, and he's able to make plays with his legs if he has to. He's doing the best he can with the guys he gets, because even a lot of the guys dropped the ball today. Mentioning that 3rd down pass to Steven Allen. But anything over that yardage, I was like, he can't. He's like, he's nearsighted, farsighted, or some shit. He can't just. His vision goes to shit, and he can't throw good. Like, he was throwing good to Dres Anderson against the Panthers. And there was a play where Dres Anderson could have got a touchdown. He split the safeties, and if he just threw it to the left side, away from the safety, right behind Dres Anderson on his right, it would have been potentially caught and ran in for a touchdown. But instead he threw it over to the right where the safety was, and it was just a shitty throw that no one caught. It was just shit. And this week again, the only deep throw was shit. Well, I think later on there was another deep throw, but he was like, you know what, I need to stop throwing it so far. So he underthrew it. So I was like, okay, you're working on it. But this seems like there's a lot of work. He should not start, because you're going to need to make those throws, especially if they're going to be running with Miller and Foreman, and how Blue's been running. Teams come up to stop the run, play action, do some rollouts with Watson. If you can't make those deep throws, not scary at all. Heck, Alex Smith throws better deep, and that's why they got Patrick Mahomes have somebody with a better arm because they can't seem to push into the playoffs with Alex Smith. So he needs to work on that deep accuracy. Big time. If he's going to start. Later on, Hatley, undrafted defensive lineman, played really well. He had a nice sack, got a lot of pressures, made I think a nice tackle for a loss. That was pretty nice. I noticed that Chris Thompson would get open, but he can't catch the ball. I don't think he had a single catch because he can't. Watson had a nice shake and bake touchdown. Like, he should have been stopped, but he's smart enough to realize, oh, this play's busted. I have to make something up on the fly here, and he did, which was really nice to see. Because he did a fake handoff to the left side of the line to Foreman, and he rolled out to the right, but number 94 on the Patriots was there to stop him rolling out. And he just did a little and then cut it up to the middle of the field where nobody was because they were all trying to stop Foreman, and got the easy 5-yard touchdown. That was nice to see. It was nice to be able to see him actually throw a deep pass accurately, throw a touchdown. That'd be nice to see. Continuing on, Rice had a nice interception, and number 94 had the pressure. Kamulu? I don't know if I'm saying that right. And then next play, Foreman gets the nice touchdown where there was instant pressure. I think Butler on I think that's his name, defensive tackle number 70 on the Patriots, busted in. He was able to get out of his way, stiff arm him a bit, a little forearm, and then squeeze between two Patriots to get into the touchdown. That was nice. That's what I like about Foreman, is that he has a lot of speed and movement ability where he tries not to get hit. So he tries to run around people because why take a hit, right? Makes sense. Save your body and you can keep your speed going and you can run for a touchdown. That's what he does, but he also has the power, whether he stiff arms you, lowers the shoulder, or just runs into you, to run you over and to run through you. He has that power, which is nice. But if he can, he gets you worried about getting run over. Like, you see a lot of these defensive backs, they're getting ready for a hit, and then he just runs around them. And it's like, not a lot of guys can do that. Like you saw last week against the Panthers. The guy was like, I'm just going to go for his legs, and he just jumped over him. Like, he gets a lot of agility and speed to a big guy like him that can just run you over. There was a punt return the Patriots had by Cyrus Jones. I thought he was going to go for a touchdown, but Brian Peters just honed in on him like a homing missile. Just went right for him, boom, and tackled him. And I was like, thank God he stopped that, because our special teams coverage unit has been shit. Yeah, especially against the Patriots. And it was nice to see a play like that. And why he had 17 special teams tackles last year, and I think led the league or was up there. But continuing on, the last thing is that 94 had a pretty good game. I know it was against second and third stringers, but he got some pressures like I was mentioning before. He got, I'm not sure if he got a sack, but the last play of the game, he sacked Brissett knocking the ball out before he could move his arm forward, which would have been an incomplete pass, and knocking the ball out of the end zone, which gave the ball to the Texans, which was an awesome way to end that game. He just had a great game. That's the last thing on my... That was boneheaded. Last thing on my notes here. I guess a couple things I didn't write down is Dylan Cole looked good against the run, like hungry. I'm gonna go after this guy. I'm gonna mess his world up. Cunningham, he doesn't seem like himself. Like when you see him in his college games, he seemed like he wasn't sure what he's supposed to be doing. He seemed very nervous. That should pass. But that's something I was noticing. Cunningham was one of the guys I wanted to watch because second round pick, who was a hell of a tackle machine at Vanderbilt, and the only defensive the only player that was predicted to be a first round pick that Belichick actually checked out himself. So it's like this guy got something to him. I also wanted to see a little bit more of Robert Nelson, but I guess he played so bad that they gave more time to Tristan Aku, who did alright, and Rice and Virgin got to play a lot more at corner. And they seem to play okay. I can't say they did any bonehead plays, but I can't say they did any great plays except for that nice interception. But he did that jumping over a fullback who's not really a guy you're worried about making a play receiving. But anyway, I'm going to end this by actually, making a completion without getting hit here. Oh, I thought that linebacker dropped back at the last second when I threw to mess up my day. But he couldn't do it. Alright guys, thanks for watching and take care.